Hi traders, it's Jay with thetraderinstitute.com. Just want to remind everyone that futures, forex, and options trading is risky and you can lose money. Therefore, you should only trade with risk capital. Please consult your financial advisor or investment professional before making any investments in futures, forex, or options. No guarantee of income or solicitation of futures, forex, or options or any other financial instrument is being made in these videos. Okay, so this is a review for our levels from May the 10th and our projections going into May the 11th. Got the just a 2-minute chart of the S&P up in here, and one of the main levels that we had yesterday, which we talked about, the black levels on the screen, you can see the 2080 quarter and 2082. Now, during the regular session, during the US session, it was actually a trial session. Some of you might have been in attendance who are not members yet. And the members definitely heard me say that if we got above the London highs and started to move higher, that we would probably see 2080 quarter, which was our level. Now you can see the price made going into the close yesterday, just prior to the US close. The high was 2079.75, so we were 2 ticks off the high. Now the rest of the session, obviously below you can see that 2068 level. It was 2068, not 2067 3/4, it was 2068. You can see that during the London session we came up to that level. We broke through our level just prior to the London Open. After European Open, we broke through 2061 quarter. We came back to test it, played around it for a few minutes, came back to test it 1 or 2 more times, and then straight up we blasted through our level at 2065.28 or 25, sorry, straight to 2068, and that was a black level, a major line. Remember, we're distinguishing between our major and minor levels. The minor levels are red, the major levels are black. 2068 level was a major level, bounced off that one time straight back down to 2065 quarter, off 2068 again, straight back down to 2065 quarter, pushed through 2065 quarter, and then just played around there for a little while, then back up to 2068. The highest it got was 2069 quarter, so we only pushed that level by 5 ticks. So that major high, in other words the London high, we had that within 5 ticks. And then the high of the US session we had within 2 ticks, you saw up at 2082. So after we established the London high, again, where do we come back down to? 2065 quarter within a tick. Second time we pushed through it a couple ticks. Third time we get another bounce. And then finally the fourth time we actually start to push through and all the way back down to it was about 2057 quarter, which oddly enough was a major level that we had on Monday and last week. And so then coming back into the Asian session, we get coming into the American session, we get back up to 2061 quarter, tests 2060, 61 quarter, can't really push through yet. One last test of 2060 even, then back up above 2061 quarter. We play around a little bit right before the US Open, push up right after the Open, back down just a couple minutes after the US Open, and then where do we go? Well, straight up to 2065 quarter. Major reaction off that, about 3 points, 3 points reaction off that level, and then we couldn't quite get back down to 61, but then back up and we test the London high. It equals the London high at 2069, so just 4 ticks off our 2067 level. Where do we go back down to? 2065 quarter within 1 tick. Then we press the London high just once by 1 or 2 ticks, and then we come back in, and then as soon as we get above 68, and there was no turning back, and all the way up to our expected level of 2080. All right, so going into the 11th, what do I see? Obviously 2080 quarter is still an important level, and now we have kind of a zone between 2070 75 and 2069 as kind of a major support, do or die level. If we were to get back below 69, we've got a few levels along the way, but ultimately if we get back below 69, I think we should come all the way back down to 2052 quarter or 2050 evens. Above 2080, we've got 2082, and then we've got some minor levels in between, going all the way up to the high. So we'll change that to black, 2105 quarter. So basically, if we can get above 82, we should see a lot higher prices. The only zone that I think would stop us along the way is 2092 to 2094 3/4. So that's my outlook on the ES going into the 11th. Now, with regard to the oil market, this is the crude oil June contract. You can see we had lots of levels on our screen, on our radar yesterday, but I got very good feedback throughout the various sessions through the Asian, the London, and the US session as to the levels yesterday. I know many of our students are really benefiting from it. As you can see on this chart, we had anticipated a major level up at 44.47. We did actually break that, but during the towards the end of the US session, we did actually break above it. But you can see that we had major reactions around that 44.47 and 44.54 level, and now we're coming back below it. If we can stay below 44.47, I would expect us to at least go back down to our levels at 44.02 and 43.95. So I'm going to change those to black. Okay. And below that, I think we would see the 43.60 level, possibly 43.45. So those ones are going to be major levels too. So going into the 11th for oil, what do I expect? I expect that the downside action should be contained above either 43.45 to 43.47 or above 43.95 and 44.02. If we stay above 44.47 and continue higher, then obviously $45 is in play, and we've got some levels along the way that could take us all the way up to 45.70, possibly even 46.07. So that's my outlook for oil on May the 11th. And once again, I'm not really going to go over all the minutia of how oil behaved yesterday, but I mean, just looking at this chart, you can see reaction after reaction all around our levels. Major levels, major reactions, minor levels, minor reactions, all day long yesterday. So I can see why many of the students were very happy with oil and the way the levels performed yesterday. Okay, on the NASDAQ, nothing really has changed in terms of levels. You can see, if I bring in more of the chart here, once again, performance of the levels on the NASDAQ over the past 24 hours was quite amazing. You can see after the Asian session, essentially we picked the low, picked one of the swing lows in the Asian session down 43.39 evens, and we went up to 43.49. Once we broke it, came back, tested it, blasted up through our 43.53, continued, and you can see all the reactions that happened around the levels. These are major reactions, at least a couple points, 3, 4, 5 points reactions every time we came into one of these levels and started to back off. And then we came back during the London session exactly back down to 43.39 within a couple ticks, and back up, and then we took off for the rest of the day. Essentially this long grind up opening drive after the US Open. So once we did get up to 43.73 or 43.61 initially, there was quite a few times we bounced off that 43.62 level. We couldn't get back down to 53. We came within a few ticks, and then it blasted off, and then it didn't stop until 73.25. Played around 73.25 and 69.5, and then got a base established there to launch higher. We pushed through 79, the 43.79 major level we had, pushed through it up to the next band of levels, backed off, tried to come back down to 43.79, couldn't quite make it, back up again, established another base, and then launched higher up to 43.96.50. And amazing that that 43.96.50, essentially that was the high of the day. It went to what, 43.98.50. So within 8 or 9 ticks. And on the Nasdaq, of course, it's only $5 a tick. So I mean, it's you don't have to be as accurate on a market like the Nasdaq, because there's less risk per tick involved. So going into the 11th, what do I see? I want 43.96 to be major level. Now I'm not going to adjust the pricing of it too much, I don't think. Maybe a couple ticks higher, but overall, let's call it 43.97 now. To the downside, I would still say 43.90 in that area. So I would expect that into the 11th, we should probably stay above 43.78 If not, we should definitely stay above 43.49. I think that's where downside action would be contained, those two major levels, and we've got some minor ones along the way. To the upside, if we were to get above 43.97 we do have some levels, obviously 4400, the psychological level, and then going up we've got 44.17 and 44.30. I think if we did get above 4400, that we would most likely stay below 44.30 and 44.32 half. So that's my outlook on the Nasdaq for the 11th.